Hi Leo, welcome to your week ahead horoscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. A quick note about my readings: they are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Leo, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they speak to you. So I am going to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So quick note, the intuition activation webinar on the 20th of March. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be great. You can get yours on the link in the description box below, and you will also have access to the replay for life. So if you want to be there in person, please do, but if you can't make it, you can still have access. Now, your key to the week is the Justice card. And yes, this is commitments, it's the things that you tie yourself to, it's contracts, it's all of those things, but Justice is also one of the cards that asks you to make a decision for yourself. This is about not being swayed by anything or anyone else. And this week, you are going to have to make an impartial decision. You may be called upon for something this week. You may be presented with something where you have to choose. And it's kind of like everybody has an idea of what they want you to choose, but it's important that you don't let any of that sway you, right? So this is a moment, or this week, you're going to have a moment where you really need to think long and hard about the decision that you're making, and it needs to be based on what you feel is the right thing for yourself. For your actions and options this week, you have the 10 of Wands, right? So this is great, actually. All right. So when it comes to what you're doing this week, this is about you releasing yourself from some form of a burden. Now, if I'm completely honest with you, I actually feel like for a lot of you this week, you're making a decision that is going to see you removing someone or something from your life permanently. In a lot of ways, I kind of feel like you've been gearing up to this for quite some time, but you've been trying to figure out how you're going to do it, like what you're going to say, what needs to be said, what needs to be done, what's the right way to close this thing down. I mean, the other thing with the 10 of Wands as well, it's a card of movement. So for some of you, you could literally be coming into that realization this week that, you know what, I am now finally ready to move, which tells me that you're probably going to start proceedings this week for closing things down where you are, which is both exciting and terrifying, I think, in some ways. For your communications and conversations, you have the Knight of Cups. So there are offers and opportunities on the table. There's a lot for you to discuss this week, and there's a lot for you to consider. For some of you, this could be literally you bumping into somebody or meeting somebody that ends up becoming someone quite important to you. You know, outside of the realm of work, actually. This feels like it could be somebody of a romantic nature, which is very, very exciting. And they are likely to come through somebody that you know or somebody that you are connected to or tied to. Now, for your for those of you that are employed or, you know, employed by somebody else, there are opportunities to get ahead this week. I will have to say this to you though. It may be that the step that you take forward or upward, you have to step over or on somebody else to do it. Now, the thing is with Leo energy, it's very, very loyal. You know, like they don't like to harm other people unless, you know, like everybody, but, you know, unless absolutely necessary. And, you know, usually when a Leo wins, they want it to be a win that they can be proud of. And that's the thing that I find really interesting here, because it's kind of like there's something that needs to be done or needs to be said. And it's like, I can see that thing that I've wanted. One way that this could play out, like literally the job that you want could become available because the person that had the job before you gets fired, and, you know, it leaves it wide open, and suddenly you have access to this position or this you know, thing that you've wanted for so long, and it's like, oh, you know, but how do I feel about it? That's not really any of your stuff to worry about. You know, everybody's on their own path, so don't cut your nose off to spite your face this week. For those of you that are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business owners, etc., again, offers to get ahead this week. But interestingly enough, A similar message came through with Cancer for their week ahead, but it was in with very, very different cards. And I kind of feel like this week there is an opportunity for you to get ahead, but you're going to have to make some cuts. All right, you're going to have to start simplifying things. Or if the image that I have in my mind is literally like a hot air balloon, and you know, like sometimes when it starts to go down, they have to cut off the sandbags. This is exactly the image that I'm getting for those of you that work for yourselves or have your own business. This week, you're going to have to cut something or someone loose. You're going to have to take things back to basics in some way, shape or form. And that's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing at all. For those of you that are retired or no longer working for any reason, there are, again, right, this is you in a lot of ways. Actually, I feel like you're going to be called upon to mediate something, or you're certainly going to be asked what your opinion is. And I have to say this, usually, Leos tend to, they try to sometimes sit on the fence, like, unless they really, you have to really believe in something as a Leo, to really fight for it. Whereas this week, I kind of feel like you're a bit like, meh, well, I'm not really sure, either way, but I think you are going to be pressed for an answer. So just consider that. For your money and materials, you have the Four of Swords. Whatever big purchase you are planning to make this month, please, please, please exercise some restraint, especially if it's this week that you're hoping to make that big purchase. We've got 2 weeks at this point that I'm recording this before the sun moves into Aries. You'll be in a much stronger position for it. I just don't like it, especially if it's something that's going to be like a long-term commitment. If it's like a one-time purchase, you'll probably do all right. But if you're looking to do something that you're going to be tied in for some time, my advice would be not this week. For your physical health and vitality, the Four of Swords is your arms, your hands, your fingers. Be careful with all of these this week, and because you've got the Ten of Wands there as well. Leo is always susceptible to having back troubles, so just this week, if you feel like even just the slightest twinge, take a rest. All right, you'll be thankful and grateful that you took this rest now, because otherwise it's going to be something much worse later on. For your home and environment, this is really about finding rest. This is really just taking a moment of downtime to have a breather. Excuse me. For your love and relations, you have the Emperor card, right? So I find this interesting because you've got the Justice card as your key to the week, and then you've got the Emperor, its direct opposite in the Zodiac, as the Lovers card. Now, for those of you that are single, it looks like you could be meeting somebody this week. There could be a real connection between you. I will say that this does suggest to me that this is somebody that is either in a position of authority or somebody that is very used to getting their own way, which isn't a bad thing. This is a real go-getter. Whenever the Emperor represents a person, this is somebody that is forthright, somebody that is vibrant, energetic, powerful. They know what they want. They're not afraid to go for it or to go after it. And this week, Leo usually does the pursuing. They like to be adored and admired and all the rest of it. And even you silent dignity type Leos, I know you're in the background there like, well, not all of them. Actually, yes, all Leos love to be adored, right? But usually Leos, they're quite sort of regal, aren't they, right? And there's this energy where they tend to like, it's like, I know what I like and I will go after what I like too. Sometimes Leos aren't necessarily great with always being pursued, and this week it feels like someone's going to pursue you hard, so be prepared for it. For those of you that are in relationships, marriages, partnerships, etc., the Knight of Wands, the Emperor card coupled with the Knight of Cups actually is basically saying that your partner wants to get back to the way that things were. There are improvements to be made in the relationship and your partner is really on the bandwagon for doing so. Let them. This is a week to be open to the possibilities of relationships, whether you're single or partnered. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Don't forget to check out your life path reading that I did for the whole of March. There's a little sign up in the heavens of this video to show you how to get it. Take care, and I'll see you soon.